Okay, good morning. So as you come into the webinar, if you could please go to the chat and let us know where you're from. You want to change the "to" to read all panelists and attendees so that we can all see where you're from. Okay, I'm going to wait just about a minute until everybody gets in. Okay, again, just if you want to make a comment to everybody, you want to make sure that it says to panelists and attendees. Otherwise, it will just come to the panelists and myself. So we want to thank you for attending this morning, our third virtual training institute. Just want to let you also know that there will be a proof of participation. You'll get one proof for all of the sessions that you attend. That link will be in the chat at the end of the presentation. And I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll so that we can see where everybody, what your role is within your program. So if you don't mind participating in the poll, that would be great. Okay. So it looks like most of our participants are ABE instructors, closely followed by instructional specialists and program administrators. So thank you for participating in the poll. And there are the results. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to, we have with us this morning, we have Kathy Green, Rachel Riggs, Pamela Martin, and Angel Marshall. So thank you. They are from the Frederick Community College, and their presentation is creating and implementing a personalized PD plan. So it's yours.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to have so many people here with us. Today, we're going to talk about our journey in implementing a personalized PD plan. But first of all, we'll start with introductions. I'm Angel Marshall. I'm the Director of Adult Education and ESOL for Frederick Community College.
I'm Kathy Green. I'm the Assistant Director of Adult Ed and ESOL.
I'm Pamela Martin, the Instructional Specialist from ABE-GED.
And I'm Rachel Riggs, the Instructional Specialist for ESL.
So one of the first things that we'd like to do just before we get started talking about our PD plan is to hear from all of you. And we were wondering, how would you describe your program's PD plan in a word? And if you go to the mentee poll, you'll actually have a chance to submit 3 different words. So you can have 3 words, but let us know how you feel about your program's PD plan as it is today. And you can use the QR code or the link that is here.
I just put the link in the chat as well, so.
Great. And I will open the poll so we can see the results. Do I need to reshare so that you can see the results?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy, you might want to go back to your Mentimeter dashboard to get to the live results.
Try that. Even when I did that, nothing is popping up.
Uh-oh. Okay, we're having a little glitch. Maybe people can just put it in the chat box. I see Phyllis put regular conferences and staff training. Okay, there we go. Jeff said updates via Zoom meetings with principal in Maryland State. Stagnant, said Deborah. Variety of activities. Flexible, nice. Random, haphazard, inconsistent. Okay.
Mhm.
You're in for a treat, Peg. Group work, webinars. A lot of group work.
Oh, hard to follow.
Sorry. Unbalanced. Lynn, the question was, can you describe your PD plan and with one word? Oh, wow, Carol, I like that. Eclectic, need-based, and tailored. Sounds great.
So sounds like we've had some good responses. I don't know if the meeting host can give me sharing privileges again, but I'm unable to reshare the PowerPoint.
You should have sharing privileges.
There it goes. Thank you. All right, so thank you for sharing how your PD plan is today in your program, and I will see if I can work on getting the Mentimeter results in a visual so we can see them later on. But we will continue to give you some background on our PD program and how we decided to develop a personalized PD program. And we will do that first by talking about why we chose to take this particular action.
Okay, so like all programs, we have a variety and range of instructors that work with our program. We have our veteran adjuncts who have been with us since the program began at the college. And they bring a wealth of knowledge and have very different development needs than those new adjuncts that we're bringing in who maybe are new to adult ed or new to teaching a particular content area. So there's just a huge range. And in the past, I think we'd tried the one-size-fits-all professional development approach and just realized that it wasn't meeting everyone's needs. And the idea was, okay, well, how do we make this better? And how do we make it personalized to meet the range of needs of our instructors, which also mirror it mirrors kind of what we hope is happening in the classroom in terms of the differentiation with students. So our goals in implementing a personalized PD plan were really from the administration standpoint to foster facilitated growth within our instructors and to give us an opportunity to target new program initiatives and build on topics that we knew were areas of focus for that year. For the instructors, we really wanted to give them a feeling of choice and preference and really some ownership in their PD plan so that they felt like they had a vested interest. And then we wanted them to be able to have the opportunity to see that what they're doing in PD sessions connects to the classroom, and that as instructional specialists and administrators, that we're working with them to kind of tie the two together, that PD isn't just something that you go to and check a box and then say, oh, I met my number of hours, that we're, as a program, that we're looking at, great, we worked on this, and then how is it translating into the classroom? And what feedback do you have for us so that we can continue to provide development in that area? And on the student end, obviously, we're hoping that the students feel like there's an improved classroom experience and that they're getting kind of the newest or best possible instruction. And then with that translates into EFL gains. So. And so our hope was really that by providing a personalized PD plan, that we could connect all the dots of all the things that we try to do. And we know in our programs, we try to do a lot. We wanted to connect PD to instructor observation. So if our instructional specialists go into a classroom and they observe that, there's an area that instructors could benefit from additional professional development on, that they can provide that feedback and link them to maybe a video from a previous virtual training institute or recommend a current virtual training institute session. With the new initiatives, like thinking about the digital literacy framework, the idea that we can use the PD plan to kind of strengthen people's understanding of what that means and how that translates to the classroom, helping instructors focus on retention data and learner outcomes, and also kind of bringing things back to research-based instructional practices and really modeling the multiple teaching approaches. So we tried really hard to think about if we want instructors to vary their instruction within the classroom, and we want there to be some independent activities, or we want there to be online activities, that we mirror that in our PD.
How would you go about doing this? And so we came up with several steps that we felt we had to follow. First was gathering information from instructors, and then finalizing a menu, and then creating an individual professional development plan, and of course, tracking their progress. Next slide. Okay. In gathering the information, we looked at the program considerations. We wanted our PD plan to meet instructional needs and expectations, to fulfill our grant requirements, and to provide more involvement for instructors to have choices in their selection of PDs. So we started out with an instructor survey. The PD menu was sent to the instructors by a Google form, and they had to rank each of the topics from a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being their first choice and 4 being the last choice. And some of the topics in there were teaching and learning, digital literacy, educational technology, workforce development, adult ed and ESL, book club and application, and PD leadership opportunities. And this is you're showing the survey of how they first and second choice, and we also had a third and fourth choice. And as you can see, the topics vary from many different things that the teachers would be able to utilize in their classrooms. The links courses, the ed puzzle, and the book club. The book club we did fall, spring, and summer, and we've completed the fall one. And the community of practice for the research, we broke it out into 3 times that they could do it throughout the year to get their PD hours.
Okay.
Okay.
So we just wanted to go over some of the tools we used. And in each of those steps, and of course, this was our first year doing this, so we're still learning as we're going along, and we'll give some of our lessons learned at the end, but we're not necessarily saying this is exactly what you should do. We're just giving kind of an example and a model of our approach in hopes that it will spark some ideas for other programs. So we used Google Forms, as Pam just showed you, to gather responses from our instructors on what they would be interested in, so that we could remove any of those options that no one displayed interest in. And then once we had all of their responses, we published a final menu that we have, Blackboard is kind of our hub that we use for instructors to go to for resources. So we published the final menu on Blackboard, and that's where it lives when we have new instructors who are onboarded and want to see what options they have. So the PD menu is there, just in a PDF. This is what the menu looks like. So we have basically just the specifications of how many hours they're required to complete. And then we also included a level key using just little emojis. So, the magnifying glass means that it's something new and they would kind of be at a beginner level in that area. The light bulb means that, maybe they're more intermediate. I can't help but use levels like that. They're kind of in the middle in that area. And then the graduation cap would indicate that they are really comfortable in that area. And so they would be ready to create things. So like we have an educational technology category, for example. And so some of those graduation caps would be areas where they would be prepared to create materials using ed tech tools for the whole program to use. So we had different levels so that instructors kind of knew what the different PDs, like kind of what they would be signing up for. And we had some required PD. The VTI was one of our required options, and then the community of practice for research-based strategies was another requirement. And then from there, it was just all of the other options were organized by topic. So we have some on digital literacy, some on educational technology, some just in a more general kind of teaching and learning topic. And then we also tried to give them the anticipated format, of course, with COVID and the pandemic, the format for each one. And even just as we're going along, the format is kind of changing, but we tried to give them an idea of whether it would be something that would be face-to-face, or something that was a hybrid, or something that is an online course and it would be totally self-paced. Once they all indicated their interest and had some time to review the final plan, we began having each person create their own personalized plan. So we use Sign Up Genius for scheduling, and we scheduled 10-minute meetings with each instructor to give them a chance to ask any questions about their choices. And we found that these meetings were very productive. Because they, sometimes would select something, but they weren't really quite sure based off of the description or how it was on the menu. They weren't totally sure about what it was. And we were able to offer kind of a bigger picture into what that PD entails and whether or not they would be at the right level for that PD. So it was really good just to have that one-on-one meeting with each instructor to answer any questions they had and come up with a finalized plan for them. So we did that on Zoom. We scheduled the 10-minute meetings with Sign Up Genius, and then Pam and I, had just blocked out on our calendar a couple hours, and we kept instructors in the waiting room. And as we completed those 10-minute sessions, they were just rotating through. So that was fun. It was like it was really fun. It was like a meeting on steroids. And this is just a little glimpse into what I was doing during those meetings. I had this Excel spreadsheet, and so I would put their names there, and then I put down what they had displayed interest in, and then their final choices in that final column. So I was just kind of taking notes quickly during that little 10-minute meeting. I would recommend something in a similar format if you do those quick sessions, just so that you have everything there for you and you can take those notes quickly and then transform it into a more beautiful PD plan. We also have been using this to kind of track progress. Pam and I determined some good dates for each PD so that they would kind of be rolling out throughout the year. And then we have been using everyone's PD plan to create email lists so that each time a PD comes up and it's on someone's personalized PD plan, we have already just an email list that we can copy and paste and reach out to everyone and let them know that their choice is coming up. And then we also put in how we would document each different PD. And these things, of course, are changing over time, but it helped us just to have a general plan.
Break now.
Okay, go take a break. Yep.
Now I have your phone.
Yes, here.
The rays of the phone.
Okay, sorry everyone. Kindergartner here. And then the final, well, not even a final step. I mean, we're still kind of going through this, right? Just tracking everyone's progress. So we use JotForm. We have them take surveys at the end of most PDs, unless it's something like the VTI, where they get a proof of participation or an online course or something. But we use JotForm to have them fill out a survey, give us a little feedback on the PD. And then we used JotForm's PDF feature to automatically direct them to a timesheet. So it's like it's a form, but it populates a PDF so that we have their timesheet also at the end of each PD. And then we upload that documentation to their teacher folders, which we keep in Teams.
All right, and then I was just going to share a couple of the lessons learned. These lessons were shared by Pamela and Rachel, who have really done the majority of the work on this personalized PD plan and the implementation. But the main thing was getting feedback from the instructors was time consuming, but also those 10-minute meetings weren't quite enough. So I think Pamela and Rachel shared that when they do this again, they will create longer meeting times. So maybe use that 15-minute time. And also, instead of both Pamela and Rachel meeting with every instructor individually, they might divide up that instructor list so that each of them are just meeting with half of the instructors. But I think doing it unified for this first time was a really good way to show support and have everyone on the same page, teachers, ISs, program administrators, to keep going. The other thing that we're working on now, and hopefully we'll have more lessons to share later, is on connecting the PD plan to what is actually happening in the instructors' classrooms. So we really want to make sure that what is being learned and used in the PDs is being applied. So we're trying to document this by including a section on our instructor observation forms where we can discuss with the instructor how any of the PD they've taken has impacted the way that they're teaching now. And we can also note any observations we have of that implementation. So this will allow us to see which PDs have been more useful and, you know, how the instructors are actually responding to them. That is about where we are now today. So we are in the middle of implementing this. We started in, I want to say September with this. And so instructors have started with, sorry, Angel's shaking her head, it was before September. The instructors have done several of the PDs. I know the book club, the fall book club is going extremely well. The community of practice has just wrapped up. And we're getting ready to go into our spring with a whole bunch more. And I know instructors have done a lot of their self-paced PDs as well. So we did want to open up if anyone had any questions, you can put them in the Q&A or in the chat box, and we would be happy to answer those.
I also want to add, I'm going to put in the chat box the link to somewhere where you can just kind of see some of the things that we shared. It might be helpful to reference later. And I'm happy to add anything to it if anybody has any requests. So I'm going to drop that right now in the chat box, and then there's the QR code there too.
Rachel, there's a few questions about kind of elaborating on the book club experience. So I don't know if you want to share your.
Yeah. For the book club, I love our book club. The book club we chose, I actually crowdsourced several different books, just kind of asked some other people in the community what books they would recommend. And this was one that a lot of people recommended to us. So our first book is Mind Shift. And then we also have one of them is about project-based learning, and the other one is about getting students to create things. I don't remember the name of it, sorry. So we have been running the book club on Blackboard in a discussion board. So each week they read a chapter and then they go to the discussion board, and I post a prompt, and then they just kind of respond to that prompt. And it's always based on something that we had read in the chapter. And then this week is our final week, and I've been posting or sending them links to a Flipgrid. So if you're not familiar with Flipgrid, it's just a tool where you can post a discussion video, and then people respond with their own videos. So originally we were going to do a Zoom meeting, but I felt like it was about to be the holidays and everybody's zoomed out. And I thought it would be a good way to model how they can use Flipgrid in their classes. So we're posting little Flipgrid videos, and they're responding in Flipgrid, and that's been really fun so far. Jesse, our students don't have access to Blackboard, but our instructors do. So they have been in a discussion board. I'm sorry, I should clarify, the book club is for instructors. And so they've been in a discussion board on Blackboard.
I can just add that Rachel has also sent out a lovely recap after each discussion thread has concluded for the week that highlights the contributions of the instructors in that particular discussion. And that's been an email that I've looked forward to reading, and I'm sure that others have too. And the instructor feedback on all of the PD so far has been extremely positive, but in particular, the book club and the community of practice.
How do I document time for the book club option? Good question, Shauna. So we haven't even gotten to that part yet, but the plan right now is to look at everyone's contributions on the discussion board, and Pam and I have set an 80% cutoff. In other words, if they participated in 80% of the discussion board posts, then that would qualify as part of their 2 hours of PD. So we're giving them 2 hours of paid PD for the book club. And that would include the discussion board participation and then also the Flipgrid responses this week. So we'll have to kind of see how we're going to put it all together and document it. Probably be some screenshots necessary or a spreadsheet or something, but we're working on it.
So Jennifer, in answer to your question, when we created our PD menu, I sent it to Gina to look over, to provide feedback and to make sure we were on the right track, and that all the sessions that we were planning on putting on the menu kind of met Department of Labor's needs. And then from there, in the detailed information for the professional development plan, I did include all of the specific PD plans and a kind of a description of what they were. When it came to the budget, I budgeted them based on the section topic. And because obviously I had no crystal ball to tell me what everyone was going to choose and how many hours I'd be allotting for that. So there'll definitely be some kind of editing on that piece of it, but we tried our best. So. We did provide the books. So that was a big highlight for our teachers. Also a decent sized challenge for our instructional specialists during the pandemic, but they made it work. So again, for teachers, the idea that we paid for the book was huge, and that they could come pick up a book, because we find that teachers love books. And so that was a big attraction. And Rachel and Pamela did a great job of coordinating time pickups for teachers to drive by campus and have their book deposited in the backseat of their car. So. And we do allow teachers to make suggestions about the PDs that they want. So there were the 2 required, the community of practice, which was based on awareness of research-based strategies, and basically took snapshots of different studies and helped instructors look at those snapshots and the data and the research behind them, and then apply it to what they're doing in the classroom. And then the other one was VTI, because we wanted to encourage instructor participation in VTI. And we also had a lot of instructors who were participating in VTI anyway, and wanted to. So this gave them just the paid portion of it to be able to do it. So those 4 hours were required. And then the other 6, the instructors were allowed to choose based on their preference, with some guidance from instructional specialists.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. If you do have a question, please go ahead and put it in the chat box now. Otherwise, I am going to go ahead and here is the feedback survey form. Oh, we do have another question.
So it was a process. Oh, sorry. That's just
July.
I don't have a kindergartner, but I do have a dog. So it started with kind of over the summer, or early summer, and May, June, with developing lists of, hey, this would be really nice. And what could we do? And then some aha moments. I don't know where your aha moments come from. Mine usually come at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep, where I'm like, hey, wait a second, we should look at this, or we should find this. So it came from a lot of those, and just a very long list of then. And then once we saw what the objectives were, or kind of the what the different initiatives were, we narrowed down the topics and then kind of started funneling things into the topics. So it's definitely a collaborative process, because you want as many of those aha moments to come in to be able to meet the range of instructors that you have. And then using Gina as a resource to go in and say, okay, well, here's what we've come up with, and what else? Like, where else could we look for resources? And then from there, Rachel's reached out, I know, to Jamie when we got to digital literacy, like, okay, what's going to be the best way for us to do that? Because we know Department of Labor's, presenting on digital literacy in lots of different formats. How can we not reinvent the wheel and make sure that our teachers are getting the information from the source of it? So I won't, say, oh, it was super quick, and it wasn't, but part of that is we wanted it to be intentional, and we wanted it to really meet a variety of needs. But the team-based approach is definitely the way to go. Rachel, are the book club titles on the
Yeah, if you go to the Wakelet that I shared, and I'll put the link in again, the menu is actually on that Wakelet. So if you click on that PDF, you can see all the PD options, and that includes the titles of the book club books. So let me actually make sure that I'm not lying right now. I'm pretty confident it does, but gonna double check, and I'll read them out to you. So yeah, the first one is Mind Shift, Breakthrough Obstacles to Learning. So that's this one. And then our spring one is Launch, Use Design Thinking to Boost Creativity and Bring Out the Maker in Every Student. And then for the summer, we have a project-based teaching, How to Create Rigorous and Engaging Learning Experiences. Oh, can I explain Wakelet? Oh my goodness, I would love to. That's my favorite hobby. Wakelet is great. Wakelet, and I can share my screen. I have been using Wakelet a lot to just have a central location for different resources for instructors and so forth. Wakelet is, I don't know if you're familiar with Padlet, but Wakelet is another kind of content curating tool, or if maybe Pinterest. It's similar to creating like Pinterest boards. So you can create collections, and then in each collection, you can put in links and other resources. So you just put in a title, and then when you click on this plus sign, I can put in text to kind of organize it. I can put in a YouTube video. The most common and what's the default is paste URL. So that was, the Wakelet I created for this, a lot of it was paste URL. Some of it came from my Google Drive, so you can connect it to your Google Drive, OneDrive. There's the upload PDF, so that's what I used for the menu. But yeah, Wakelet is great. I'll show you guys some of the Wakelets I have for instructors here. So engaging online materials. Some of these I haven't, they're not like finished, so they're looking not great, but classroom games, and then sorry, Burlington English, that has some resources for, to supplement the Burlington English, how to take screenshots on different devices, because of a lot of our instructors were asking, how to create instructions with screenshots. Coffee hour resources, so we have coffee hours, and this is where we put the recordings and stuff, and we embed all of these in Blackboard because like I said, we use that as our hub. So when they go to Blackboard, they see the Wakelet there, and they can just click on the links and the different tiles that are there. So I love Wakelet, but that's a different PD for another time. I don't want to bore everyone with my Wakelet nerdiness. Wakelet is free, yes, and you can create as many collections as you want on the free account, Lynn. So yeah, definitely go get yourself a Wakelet. You're gonna love it. They should really pay me for all these little Wakelet plugs that I give in everything I do.
Okay, if there are no more questions, but it looks like there are a lot of thank yous. And yes, on behalf of Maryland Department of Labor, I would like to thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise and your valuable resources to the field. This has been great. I've gone ahead and dropped in the feedback survey again into the chat box if you don't mind filling that out. Again, the proof of participations will be sent out, but please, give us about, at least a week to process those. It takes us a little bit of time to get through all that. But again, I just want to thank the Frederick Community College team for just sharing this valuable information and for presenting this to those in the field. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.